on the journey. Always on the journey. The people of God are always on the journey. It took the Israelite people and myself over 40 years to make the journey from Egypt to the Promised Land. Tonight we gather to remember, to celebrate, to believe that God is always with us on the journey. We do this for the last couple of 3,000 years. We gather on a spring evening. We build the fire. We tell the stories. We tell the stories of our creation. We tell the stories of our creation in faith. Tonight, here in front of me, are 6 people who will be passing through the water for the first time on their journey of faith. Their journey through the water reminds us of our own personal journey through the water. Reminds us that God is with us and continues to be with us. I come here tonight to tell you about the first time God led his people through the water. It was a long time ago. More than 3,000 years. And we Israelites, we had been slaves in Egypt for some 400 years. And at times content in our servitude. But things worsened for us, and we needed to get away from Egypt. The Lord God appeared to me, Moses, and said that I should go to Pharaoh and tell Pharaoh that we should be let go as a people. And I said to the Lord God, but I am not one to speak. And the Lord God said, get your brother Aaron to go with you, for he is gifted in tongue. And Aaron and I went to Pharaoh. We begged, we pleaded, we cajoled, and Pharaoh said, no, I'm not letting the Israelite people go. They are good slaves. And we begged some more. And we pleaded some more. And we went back several times. And finally, the Lord God intervened for us. The Lord God sent plagues upon the Egyptians. And Pharaoh finally agreed to let us go. Once he had given his permission, we got on the way in a hurry. We gathered up all our belongings and set out eastward toward the sea. We were hurrying, moving as fast as we could through the desert area. And we had gone a day's journey. We were almost at the end of that day's journey. And I was almost at the water's edge when I heard a voice behind me. I could hear it was my brother's voice. I could hear Aaron, but I couldn't make out what he said. And I turned and looked back westward, and I could see that Aaron was screaming, Moses! Moses! And then he said something else. And I said, what? I could not quite hear him. And finally I could make it out. He said, Moses, look back. And I looked back over the small cloud of dust that we Israelites, and it wasn't that small a cloud. Some say there were almost 600,000 of us on that journey, trudging through the desert. And I suspect that didn't even count the women, nor the children, nor our own slaves, that we were 600,000 men, the sons of Israel, moving out from Egypt. But I looked back, peering through the dust that was there, into the sunset, and on the horizon, way back, there was something rolling up into the sky. It looked like a mountain of sand. And I thought, what is that? What could that be? And then I knew, and my heart dropped. There was only one thing that could raise a cloud of dust like that. Pharaoh had sent his army, his horses and chariots and charioteers after us. And they were coming full speed, and we were trudging on foot. As I said, we were almost at the water's edge, and I wasn't quite sure what we were going to do. By this time, some of the other Israelites were looking back, and they figured out pretty quickly what was going on. And they began to call upon the name of the Lord. And I, as I reached the water's edge, looked about and thought, Lord, what have you gotten us into? And I too began to call upon the name of the Lord. And the Lord said to me, Moses, Moses, why are you calling out to me? Tell the people to go forward. Forward, I said. I sat there in fear and trembling, and the Lord God said, yes, Moses, tell the people to go forward. I thought to myself, Lord, are you crazy? Forgetting for a minute that the Lord knew my every thought. Thankfully, the Lord ignored my thought, though I believe I heard an edge in his voice as he came back and said, Moses, tell the people to go forward. And you, Moses, take up your staff and stretch out your hand over the water so that the people may pass through it on dry land. For I will divide the waters. Part of me wanted to shake my head in disbelief, but everything the Lord had told me to this point was the absolute truth. And I agreed that I would do as the Lord said. And the Lord said, when you divide the water in two and the people of Israel march into the water, I will make Pharaoh and his army so obstinate that they will follow you into the water. And then I, the Lord, will receive glory from Pharaoh and his army, his horses and chariots and charioteers. Now the pillar of fire that had been preceding us, and the angel of the Lord, and the column of cloud, then went around behind us and took up station as we camped for the night beside the water's edge. As night fell, the Egyptians stopped also. The pillar of fire became dark, and neither camp moved throughout the night. We came no closer together. In the night watch, I did as the Lord had told me. I stretched out my hand over the water and raised my staff, and the Lord sent a strong east wind and dried up the sea, and I began to see a path in front of me leading into the water. We Israelites began to march on that path on dry land through the sea. Just before dawn, as we were marching through the sea, I realized that the Egyptians The horses and chariots and charioteers were following us into the water. And as we approached the shore on the other side, the Lord threw a glance at them through the column of cloud that confused the Egyptian charioteers. They began to be confused and drive off of the path, and the mud so mired down the wheels of their chariots that they could not drive. And the Egyptian army, Pharaoh's mighty army, actually sounded retreat. Sounded retreat for us. Egypt, the greatest army in the world, was retreating because the Lord was on our side. The Lord was fighting for Israel. As it grew closer in the morning, we could look back, and the Lord said, "Raise your hand over the waters again." And I did, and the Lord let the water roll back upon the Egyptians. And as they were hurrying in retreat through the sea, the waters rushed upon them. They all drowned. Not a horse nor a charioteer escaped. Not one of them. As we stood there on the shore, looking at what the Lord God had done on our behalf, looking at the fact that the Lord had conquered evil on our behalf, we realized that in passing through the water, we had been rescued from all evil. Our sister Miriam began to lead us in dance and song, praising God. She sang, "Sing to the Lord, for the Lord is gloriously triumphant. Horse and chariot he has cast into the sea." Join me in praising God. Sing to the Lord, for he is gloriously triumphant. Horse and chariot he has cast into the sea. One more time. Sing to the Lord, for he is gloriously triumphant. Horse and chariot he has cast into the sea.